Hello students. So here today we are going to continue from our first chapter, nutrition in plants. So in the previous video, we have learned about the autotrophic mode of nutrition in green plants, right? And today we are learning the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the different modes of this, okay? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Here are the examples which forms here. They are like animals and non-green plants. So we know that, right? We all animals. We are depending on plants, right, for our food. So we are getting nourishment from the plant source. Of course, some animals are also providing us food, but here mainly we are considering because the modes of nutrition, autotrophic and heterotrophic. So autotrophs are only the green plants. The rest of all comes under heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So such organisms we call them as heterotrophs. Okay. So here the main thing is, so animals or non-green plants do not have chlorophyll content in them. So as this chlorophyll is absent, so they cannot undergo photosynthesis. This is the main the differentiation what we have here. Fine. So the different categories under this mode of nutrition, heterotrophic mode, are parasitic mode, insectivorous mode, saprophytic mode, and symbiotic mode of nutrition. Students, today we are learning only two modes under this. One is parasitic, the other one is saprophytic. The other two, insectivorous and symbiotic mode, we'll learn in the next video. Let's start our parasitic mode of nutrition. Students, we can give the familiar example like a mosquito, right? Mosquito, you all know this, you have seen, right? So it is depending on the animal. What for? For blood, right? It sits on our body and it starts sucking blood, right? Once it sucks the blood, once its stomach is full, it just flies, right? That is water. So it is depending on the living organisms, right? So that is why it is called as a parasite. But here we are learning about the plants which are parasite. Okay, the parasitic plants we are learning about. What are they first of all? Let us see. So here in parasitic mode of nutrition, plants depend on other plants or animals for their nourishment. Look at this. So these plants depend on what? The plants or animals for their nourishment. So because they are dependents, such dependent plants are called as parasites, and on which, okay, these parasites depend. They are called, what is this? Host. So we can say in short that what is the relationship which is existing between the parasite and the plant or animal which is nourishing them. The relation is what? A host and a guest relationship, right? So here the plants which provides the nourishment, they are the host, and these parasites are the guests, right? Okay. A parasite plant climbs on the host plant from which they get all the fruits. Then here the host does not get any benefit from the parasite. That is the problem. Host will not get any kind of benefit. Instead, it is losing, right? Yeah. Here are some examples. One example which is prescribed here in the NCERT textbook is the Cuscuta, or else it is called amarbel. So amarbel, a Cuscuta is it's a non-chlorophyll, a climber plant it is. Okay, it climbs on the other plants. Fine. Here, just for example, I'm given certain examples of animals: hookworms, tapeworm, and leeches. Okay. Actually, in parasites, there are two kinds of parasites. One is external parasite and internal parasite. External parasites, they stay outside the body of animal, means on the surface. Whereas like internal parasites are the one which lives within the body of organism. The complete like shelter, nourishment, all kinds of life process of such organisms is within the body of host itself in internal parasite. Here are some examples for the plants, parasitic plants. Here is a dodder plant, okay, no leaves for this. Then here is your Cuscuta. Cuscuta. See, Cuscuta has a special kind of root called adventitious root, and these roots bear haustoria. So it will cling onto the plant surface, okay, and it starts sucking the nourishment from the plant. This is called haustoria. Here you can see a mistletoe plant. It is a partial photosynthetic plant. It can undergo photosynthesis, but only for certain things. It is depending on the host plant. Let us see in detail of this later. Here are some other examples I'm given you. Here is leech. You can see how it is sucking blood with the help of its suckers. Here is a tick, mosquito. So these forms the external parasites, and these ones certain worms, roundworm, tapeworm. Okay, and this is your fluke. So this forms the internal parasites. Fine. Here are some details for Cuscuta and mistletoe. Already I told you about this. So this uh, Cuscuta plant is a plant that does not have what? Chlorophyll. It sucks food from the host plant. So what? Adventitious root. Adventitious roots. What is it called as? Haustoria. So note down the spelling. Haustoria. So this Cuscuta is therefore what? It's a complete parasite. Why? Because what is not present in them? Chlorophyll. Then comes your mistletoe plant. Okay. It is greenish, right? Because it has chlorophyll and can carry out what? Photosynthesis process. But this plant mainly absorbs water and minerals from the host plant. Only for these two purposes it is depending on the host plant. So therefore, mistletoe is what? Partial parasitic plant. Partial parasitic plant. It is not completely depending on its host, only for certain things. Fine. That is why partial parasitic plant. Okay. That's all about the parasitic mode of nutrition. Now, let us learn about the saprotrophic mode of nutrition. The example which comes under this are called saprotrophs. Saprotrophs. And they show saprophytic mode of nutrition. That's saprophytic mode of nutrition. Then what are these? On what kind of substance it depends? See, parasites, they depend on the living organisms, right? But these kinds of organisms, they depend on what, you know? That is on dead and decaying organic matter. On this, okay? So, mode of nutrition in which organisms or plants that obtain their nourishment or nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. Hence, this mode is what? Saprophytic mode. Then, the plants which exhibit saprophytic mode of nutrition, what do we call? Right, they are called as saprotrophs. Fine. How do they get nourishment from such organisms or such dead ones, dead and decayed organisms? Fine. These ones, the saprotrophs, they secrete a kind of juice. What is that juice called? Digestive juice. On what? Onto dead and decaying matter. What for? To dissolve it. To dissolve the nutrients because it can absorb only in the soluble form. So dissolve it and then absorbs nutrients from it. This is how the mode of nutrition is taking place. Once again, saprotrophs secrete digestive juices onto dead and decaying matter to dissolve it and then absorb the nutrients from it. Here you can see such an example. Moulds, bread mold, right? Then mushroom. Here some other kind of organisms like yeast and some bacteria. All these forms as examples under your saprotrophs. Let me show you some pictures of this. Students, here what you're seeing, the grayish color on the bread, right? So here on the surface of bread, something is grown. This food becomes stale. It is not fit for eating now, right? So this is a small activity you can do it in your house itself. If you have bread at home, okay, just sprinkle some water on the slice of bread on the surface and keep it in some dark place. Why in dark place? Because less temperature. and humidity is already present, right? You have sprinkled some water on it. After few days, like 2 to 3 days, you can see something is grown on the surface of your bread slide. That is what the bread mold is. Fine. Then here you can see, okay, mushroom. So this bread mold and mushroom, it comes under a category called fungi. Fungi. Okay. So these are the best examples we can give for saprotrophs. Look at this. This is animal waste on which what is grown? Yes, mushroom. Now, let us learn some of the differences which is existing between the parasite, a parasite, and a saprotroph. So whatever we are learned, so that is what here is. Okay, that's a short summary of this. Okay, a parasite takes the food from the organism on which it lives. Note down, a parasite takes the food from what? From the organism on which it lives. Whereas here, it secretes digestive juices on the matter where it lives and convert it into a kind of solution, and then it is absorbed. Here, you can see. They feed on what? The living organisms, but here on it and decaying organism. Then comes the organism on which it feeds. What is that called as? Of course, host, right? Here, they do not depend on the living organism itself, right? They do not feed on a living organism. And your parasite, it deprives the host of valuable nutrients from the living organisms directly. There is here no question of host itself. There is no host at all because it is depending on what kind of organisms, dead and decayed, right? So these are the differences between a parasite and a saprotroph. So that's all for today. We'll meet again in the next video. Thank you.